We did ask follow-up questions to sort of ascertain what are the drivers of goodwill in these three countries toward the United States? What are the sort of predictors of favorable views of the U.S.? And we found that a history of good relations really was the standout variable for both people who supported the United States and people who supported China. So if you perceive your country as having a history of good relations with the United States or China, you're more likely to say that that's support that. Other people in those countries, they do cite economic development, and that especially in the United States, for people who supported the United States, it's the fact that its government, its system of government ensures individual freedoms and equal rights for all of its citizens. The main drivers of anti-American sentiment in these countries are that its system of government is ineffective or its culture is unappealing. Or the biggest driver of unfavorable views about the U.S. has to do with economic disparity, which we think is notable. It's interesting that people who like China in these countries, people who selected China, have a sort of culturally specific reason for doing that. They see it, they like its music, movies, food, and art. They select its culture, and they also select that it's a leader in technological innovation. So they have a perception that China is an economic leader. People who do not like China or have an unfavorable view of China do so because they see its military as destabilizing the region. You won't be surprised to find that this comes from a lot of South Koreans. It's also notable, though, that the reason people are concerned about and worried about U.S. U.S.-China geopolitical confrontation is that fully 81% of Filipinos worry that it's going to jeopardize their country's national security. On the other hand, if you turn to South Korea, for example, fully 70% of South Koreans worry that domestic politics at home within South Korea are going to intensify and polarize as political candidates are forced and parties forced to choose sides between either the United States and China. So we don't see a lot. We gave answer options for positive outcomes. Your country can hedge its influence. Your country can kind of, solicit security guarantees. We don't see a lot of positive views of the consequence, sort of perceptions of the consequence of this rivalry playing out.